We are the Plotaholics, ripping plots apart for you. Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Plotaholics podcast. Not the Plotaholics podcast, my bad. It's the Plotaholics Live. Wind it back. We got to do it again. No.
All right, let's just go back to
live.
There you go.
I'm Shane Wilson, and as always, I'm joined by one of the lesser Avengers, Cereal Man.
Hey-o!
Mr. Tan is over there getting his little snack on. And we welcome you in.
I need some life cereal really bad.
Yeah, we welcome everybody into the conversation. Make sure that you say hi, like Anita just did. So you know that you're here. And we are going to go ahead and rip through the last week's worth of pop culture for you guys. Mama and Papa Wilson in the house.
Yeah.
So on time. And
all right,
yeah,
that's isn't that a first?
I honestly don't know.
I ain't gonna say too much. I ain't getting whooped.
So Brian, the big story of the day and of the honestly the last couple of days here since the weekend is that Amazon reportedly interested in buying AMC theaters. AMC been in the news lately.
Mm-hmm. They got some
Amazon,
beef. They got
well, yeah, they've been beefing. Julia, welcome.
I got my pandy.
And yeah, so Amazon and well, first of all, AMC was beefing last week with Universal.
Yeah.
Universal now is beefing with the stars of Trolls.
Oh, jeez.
And now AMC is as most movie theater chains are really suffering now because of the shutdown.
Right.
And Amazon is interested, at least according to reports. This courtesy of Daily Mail in the UK is that Amazon has entered into preliminary talks with the parent company of AMC Theaters and their British counterpart to talk about possible buyout. However, I think it's all smoke and mirrors.
I think it'd be funny if Amazon did, because they wouldn't have to do much change in branding. They could just change because it's Amazon Cinema.
Yeah, they would just need to do the lowercase a with the little smiley face underneath.
Exactly. Like that's really all they'd have to do. I think it would be if Amazon threw their hat into the ring for their into a movie theater business, though, that would start to get to a point where I'm like, because they've already essentially cornered the market as a bookseller. It's just them and Barnes and Noble at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're the primary one-stop shop. I mean, yeah, we have Overstock and blah, 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 but they're the primary spot where people go to make purchases online, right? Now you have Prime Video, then you have Amazon Music and blah, blah, blah. I mean, they're starting to become almost like Disney trying to become a super conglomerate, falling into that potential trust
antitrust stuff.
Yeah, need to get into some antitrust stuff.
And yeah, indeed. The thing is when you, and we all know that Amazon has the capacity to create original content, as they have been doing so for a while. So when you are the producer and the distributor and the, you know what I mean, the means of the means of production, the means of consumption, like eventually you have to run into this antitrust stuff, you would think.
You absolutely do. And then throw in the demonic trifecta, and we made $12 billion, didn't pay a single cent in taxes. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
You are becoming an evil corporation, my friend.
Now, Amazon, if Amazon were to buy AMC theaters, imagine how much more money they make off of big releases. Now they're going to make money off of Avengers movies that they're never going to stream for free on Prime.
Right.
And they're now going to be in the front end, like cinema experience business, the box office game, as well as the video on demand game. So they're going to get money in every.
They've got it. They're getting money every which way. Yeah, because at this point, there's a couple of MCU movies that are free as long as you have Prime. Yeah. I think but I'm pretty sure those licenses are going to expire. Yeah, because at this point, Infinity War has finally moved over to, well, one of them, it's either Infinity War Endgame, finally moved over to Disney Plus.
Infinity War, I think, was the one that was hanging out on Netflix for the last little bit.
Right. Black Panther was as well. Black Panther's just moved over.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's just a matter of getting Ant-Man and the Wasp to be able to move back over. And then I think that at that point, yeah, we're gonna if they do this, there's gonna be a big scope and change, because we're already starting to see now in our streaming services and our streaming platforms, we're starting to see a lot less overlap in what's available on these streaming services.
Yeah.
And I think if Amazon gets in on the movie theater business, it's just gonna be crazy. Especially,
what do you think an Amazon theater would look like? Do you think that they would rebrand and do the whole thing, or are they just gonna like take over what AMC's already doing?
I think they'll probably rebrand it with their own brand of things. I think they're probably going to have yellow chairs, like yellow and black chairs, so it'll look like a Pittsburgh. It'll look like Heinz Field every time you go to a movie. So I guess that might not be too bad of a thing. But I'm a Cinemark guy, so
and it's interesting because it's like the next example of their model of shut down the old distribution chains, like what they did with bookstores, right? And then they started opening up their own physical brick and mortar Amazon bookstores. It's like they're doing that same thing now with theater, because obviously with the digital distribution that they have going on online with Amazon Prime, they've already sort of not cornered the market, because there are a lot of people in that game.
But they're working
this would be one of the first. This would be a new front opened in the stream wars.
You know what I would expect, though? If Amazon, let's just say if Amazon does buy AMC, okay? And this all goes through, and let's just say in May 2021, May 2022, it's finalized. It's a done deal. I guarantee you, within the next year, Disney or Netflix buys Cinemark.
Yeah.
Or partner and merge into one company. Or Sony.
Yeah.
Like there's someone else that's in the streaming and blah blah and all of that. They're gonna go for Cinemark next, because those are the big two right there, Cinemark and AMC.
Yeah. Is Cinemark related to Carmike?
I think so. I believe so.
That seems right.
Yeah.
So yeah, and now we should note that this is all a lot. I mean, according to the Daily Mail, these talks have happened. We don't know that they're still ongoing, but we do know that AMC stock prices got a little bump today.
Yeah, I gotta look into buying their stock.
News. Yeah, currently I think it's still pretty cheap, because it wasn't very much to begin with, but it did have a bit of a it did have a bit of a little bit of a bump at the news that it was going to be bought by Amazon. But again, this whole thing would be a very long way down the road from happening.
Yeah, it's going to take. It's going to take a while.
Did.
Yeah, but I think that if something like this does happen, it's just getting to a point now where the world's just going to be nothing but corporations, man. We're moving closer to a dystopian future.
Well, and one of my favorite, and I'm going to talk about this show later, Upload, which is set in a sci-fi future. And one of the best recurring jokes on there, is how all of the companies that we're familiar with have all merged into it's like AT&T Taco Bell or something like that. It's really funny.
AT and Bell.
But yeah,
a subsidiary of Sony Corp.
So that is some of our top news of the day there. Now, while we're, I guess, in the realm of the stream wars, we might as well throw it over to Peacock a little bit and see what those guys are up to. Now, Peacock, Brian, is not launching until this summer.
True.
It has actually launched, though, to Comcast subscribers.
It's on Comcast Xfinity right now. So if you're an Xfinity subscriber, you do have the Peacock right now.
That's right. And Peacock, as we all know, and one of the things that has us excited about it, is that it is free with ads.
Right.
But I'm fine with that. I mean,
that's I'm gonna do that. I did that with Hulu when Hulu first came out.
Yeah.
It was just completely free, and then when they started getting hit with stuff, then they became ad based, and then they became subscription based. And I was happy to stick with the ad base.
Yeah, and so for now, Peacock is launching a at-home variety show hosted by Seth MacFarlane.
I love Seth MacFarlane.
Obviously is available to Xfinity subscribers, but also it's going to be on the NBC Universal YouTube channel for now, while the rest of us do not have Peacock or access to it yet. I think Seth MacFarlane is a good candidate to host a variety show as
Oh,
good as any.
absolutely. He's way too talented to not. Well. See, what's bumming me out is that I'm still waiting for season 3 of the Orville. So I really hope this doesn't interfere with that.
Well, what worries me, well, I think that Orville's probably just on standby,
Yeah, most
like
likely.
everything else. What's interesting to me is that this is the first time that I've seen Seth MacFarlane attached to something that's not a Fox property.
Yeah, that's a good point by you, because the only time before he really hit it big, he was a writer and he would take sort of like bit parts. He had this little bit part in Gilmore Girls, where before he was Seth MacFarlane, he was just some dude.
Yeah.
And yeah, most of his stuff has all been Fox properties when Family Guy exploded, because Fox was really holding on to him.
For a little while, Animation Domination on Fox on Sunday nights, they were all
Seth MacFarlane stuff.
All Seth MacFarlane shows, almost, except
for Pandy. Pandy's not a fan of the Orville. That hurts.
That
hurts my soul.
It hurts me too. And I wonder, like, I feel like the Orville is something that has gotten better as it's hung out. Like, that second season is so wildly good.
It really is. But I really love the fact, though, that they didn't try to hide the fact that they were Star Trek-esque.
Right.
But they weren't relying just on being Star Trek-esque. They did their own thing.
Well, and I think that the Orville is at its best when they don't indulge Seth MacFarlane too much.
Yeah.
Like his comedy doesn't really fit in that world for me. And whenever they lean a little bit more into the drama of it all, I think I like it a little bit more.
Same here. I like the dramedy aspect of it, because when you look at like Star Trek The Next Generation, which is my favorite of the Star Trek shows, by the way, you did get a little bit of comedy, but it wasn't a lot. You were more dealing with the drama and some of the action, where with the Orville, you get some of the comedy and then the drama sort of adds in and it blends very well. Yeah. Drama doesn't do comedy great. Comedy can do drama very well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's accurate.
And I can get in with what Julia's saying, where it was kind of
the first episode, I was not sold.
Yeah, it took me to the second episode to really get into it.
I think it was 3 for me. Which one was the one about the child?
I think it was either the second or the third one.
Yeah,
I have to go back.
That was the moment for me.
Yeah, that was, but you know what though? Scott Grimes has been a very underappreciated actor since the mid 80s. Scott Grimes, if you recall, Shane, was in our star in the first 2 Critters films.
Actually, I'm just really happy that someone is complaining that a straight white male is like overpowered. Because usually they're the guys that get the pass, like
that's true.
So like it was really refreshing to see someone complain about that for a second.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm
here for that.
I am beyond.
I do like that. I mean, one of the problems with any sort of comedic take on sci-fi is that you're sort of overpowering some of your characters at some point. But and almost everyone in that cast initially feels like they're just OP, right? Like he can catch a ship with another ship while they're both moving without any calculations. The one chick can just thump a door open,
just knock them down with no issue.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so I feel
Bortus is my favorite character.
Yeah. So what happens then is eventually they have to develop those characters and give them some sorts of flaws or something. And that happens in the Orville. They all get their turn.
As you get to the end of the first season, as you start to get toward the end of the first season, it really improves in quality. And then when you get to season 2, it's just, you hit the ground running. Can we just appreciate the fact that there's a race that's primarily men, but they're it's almost the way it's portrayed is they're a race of all men. So that's how they've adapted. And then I really love how they handled that drama of that race. Sure. I think that's amazing. That is great storytelling. And I think that this, as I come around full circle so we can move on, this variety show is going to be cool, because I'm a big fan of variety shows. I'm a big fan of sketch comedy. So
why do you think that variety, because there have been a handful of variety shows that have tried to launch in the last little bit, one with Maya Rudolph and one with Neil Patrick Harris, and neither one of them caught on.
I think part of it is because we're in a different time.
Is it just too wholesome of a brand of entertainment?
I think so. I think in some ways we're kind of past it, but at the same token, it just takes finding the right talents.
Well, and I think the right time, and this could be the right time for it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh, at this point, yeah, because we're even more desperate for entertainment than we
well,
were
and
in January.
that's why some good news with John Krasinski has taken off the way that it has. That and his office star power and him being able to call his friends up and everything is that there's just like this need for hope and wholesomeness right now, and some
Mm-hmm.
of these folks are finding a way to fill that, and it feels like, especially with this branded as an at-home variety show, with other NBC talent sort of participating from their home via Zoom or whatever. I think that there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I think the whole thing, and getting back to sort of variety shows and such. At this point, I think sketch comedy and musicals are really like, well, sketch comedy has always been big, and Chappelle's Show and Key and Peele really did a lot with it. And I
Yeah.
think in a lot of ways we're looking for more of it. But I think musicals as well are really sort of like really coming back and getting more to the forefront as well.
Well, and I think that a lot of that has to do with just it takes time for those things to evolve, right? And
Yes.
catch up with what we want out of that kind of entertainment at this point. And Seth MacFarlane's probably a safe choice to get that brought up to speed.
Yeah, because he's also a brilliant. He's a great musician as well, and a
Yeah,
wonderful singer. So
he is
this
indeed.
is going to be fun. I'm excited.
Yeah.
So
Let's
so what do we
push
got next?
up next. You sent me this, and so I put it on here, and I will talk about it now.
Yay!
The Bad Boys spinoff series, which is one season in, it's called LA's Finest. It's headed from the Spectrum Network to Fox.
Okay, now here's the thing. I didn't know about this until I just happened to see this story.
Yeah.
And I love Gabrielle Union.
Mm-hmm.
I have loved Gabrielle Union since I first realized who she was in 10 Things I Hate About You.
Right.
And when she was in what's that cheerleading movie? Set It Off. And she was the only thing I liked in the second Bad Boys movie. Like, I hated the second Bad Boys movie, but I enjoyed her character. And Jessica Alba, I've loved Jessica Alba since what was the name of that show she was in? That James Cameron show that she was in? Dark Angel.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed her in Dark Angel. So I like to see Jessica Alba get back to being like the tough girl, the badass.
Yeah.
So this is a show that I do want to start getting into.
Do you think that these two are more charismatic than, because our show has come out firmly against Bad Boys?
We are firmly again. We are anti Bad Boys. So
do
I want tough
these
girls.
two have the charisma to carry like a cop show. It's so weird to have. It's like a spinoff of a cop show. Like, aren't they all just spinoffs of the same thing?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Bad Boys at this point is just a spinoff of 48 Hours.
Well, and I feel like they're probably most likely just using the Bad Boys name here as marketing.
I think so. I think that if anything, Bring It On. I said Set It Off. Thanks, Cass. I appreciate that. Bring It On is there. All right, so this is the first time that I've flubbed like that. I apologize.
Also, a lot of Bring It On fans in the audience.
There are some Bring It On fans, man. I tell you, I did not. That just takes me back to dodgeball. So you want to join the cheerleading team so people don't think you're a loser. Okay, it's just high school changed since I was a kid. But no, I appreciate it when I screw. But here's the thing: do you think, Shane, that in this world that we're in right now, where we're looking for for more diversity in our entertainment, do you think it's time we got a modern day Cagney and Lacey? Because Cagney and Lacey was way ahead of its time. Do you think it's time that we have a Cagney and Lacey for this time?
So I think that we also, as a show, have been very pro female lead anything, really, right? Mm-hmm. We were both primed and ready to like the new Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm.
And
we were let down
and disappointed in the final product. But I think that I mean, I'm always ready for the next good idea. You know,
Mhm.
if you're gonna tell me they're gonna reboot Cagney and Lacey and call it the same thing, then you know where I stand on that. Like, if it's just a
Mhm.
cop show with two chicks in it, like call it something else.
Yeah, I don't want Cagney and Lacey 2020. No.
Yeah,
But what I
but
would like is if we're going to have a cop show and we're going to have female leads, I want them to be believable, I want them to be badass, and I want them to be people. I want them to be fleshed out characters.
yeah,
That's what I want. That's what Cagney Lacey gave us, but I think that now we could probably come up with a much more superior product because we have better everything at this point as far as a technology standpoint goes. So I'm going to be looking out for this. I do want to check it out. I'm very anti Bad Boys, but I'm willing to give this a try because of our leads, Gabrielle
yeah.
Union and Jessica Alba. Fight me.
Um, and yeah, I'm not gonna fight you.
Okay.
I don't want
Well,
to drive that
and
far, but
and Julia comes up with a relatively decent point. She doesn't love how strong females have to be tough guys. And I do agree. That's sort of one of the things that I like seeing strong female leads. I mean, I'm not saying they have to be tough guys
no, I
because
don't think that they have to be tough guys at all.
no,
I think that strong lead characters of any gender anywhere on that spectrum should be emotionally vulnerable. Like that is realistic.
yeah, because even as tough
Like
as
the
Martin,
idea of the tough guy is an antiquated thought.
right? Because I mean, even like Martin Riggs was a tough guy character, but he was broken. And
Yeah.
that's what made his character so awesome. Am I saying I want to see a female Martin Riggs? No, because I've seen Martin Riggs before.
Right.
I want a new character. And
Yeah.
I'm on Cassie Mosley's side on this when she says she's over remakes. Give us some new ideas. I agree. And granted, it's hard to have a new idea because everything has been done, but give me a good take on something that I'm familiar with and make it shine.
Yeah. Speaking of something that we all had a lot of hope for in that regard, Mr.
Mm,
Tan,
mm.
that was abruptly cut short. Swamp Thing back in the headlines
Yeah.
as the CW has acquired broadcast rights. Now, does this mean that we might get the revival of Swamp Thing?
I think now if the
I mean, it's
CW
just one season. Why would you spend money on this property for just
right.
12 episodes or whatever it ended up being?
Well, here's what I'm thinking they might do. If they do, could he be involved in because you figure Legends of Tomorrow? Well, granted, I'm a season behind on Legends of Tomorrow, but
Mhm.
I'm on the season now where Constantine has become a regular on the Wave Rider, and we're starting to see more of the dark stuff with the magical creatures.
Mhm.
And Constantine and Swamp Thing do have a history in the DC Dark.
Well,
So
and the way I
maybe
understand it, this Swamp Thing did make an appearance in Crisis on Infinite Earths.
okay, so maybe that could be a big part of it. I'm a season away from Crisis on Infinite Earth, so I'm very excited to see
Yeah,
that.
so
But I'm thinking that's what it could be, that maybe Swamp Thing kind of gets in on some of the DC property shows.
well, I found out today, and I'm sure that this is old news, while I was looking this up, that Swamp Thing was essentially canceled after season 1 because of an accounting error. Like they messed up the budget somehow, and they couldn't afford to keep making it.
Fucking Gary.
So with CW, maybe they can, inject a little money into it and bring it back because it looked good. But when I found out that it was canceled 3 days after it started, I was like, never mind.
Whoops. Well, I wasn't going to get the DC streaming service for it anyway. And besides, there's no point in getting the DC streaming service because it's going to be it's going to be included in with HBO Max. So
That's right.
So just wait a little bit. But
yeah.
I'm kind of excited about this. I think
this would mark the second DC property to leave another network and come to the CW.
Right. Yeah, because Supergirl did it first. They left CBS.
And Supergirl was straight up canceled at CBS, and then they brought her over.
Yeah. And I think Supergirl was starting to find its legs a little bit as a show. Yeah. I'm on this season now where, like I said, I'm a season before Crisis on Infinite Earth, but this season that we're on right now where they're stirring up, it's hitting me emotionally hard. So, but it's compelling television.
Yeah.
So I think Swamp Thing being involved he's a compelling character. He's a dark character. He's a fun character. So I'm excited to see what we're gonna get.
Yeah, I'm excited about it as well. Honestly, I would reinvest in season 1 of Swamp Thing if I knew there were going to be more episodes.
I'm all for it. And you know what? I'm really stoked right now. We have some awesome discussion going on in the live comments. Thank you guys for being involved and just
Absolutely,
keeping
yeah.
it going, man. This is what we look for.
Yeah, and there's some conversation there happening about news stories and the streaming services and how they, let's bring that up. That the fact that there's been such a surge of content over the last decade, you could say, has really ushered in sort of new and interesting stories. And I think that some of those stories are being told not on streaming networks as well, you know. Um, and I think that a lot of it just has to do with people, certain networks and certain services are willing to take a chance, you know, on an interesting story.
Well, I think they're really more
AMC is one of those with Breaking Bad and
the
Mad
walking.
Men and
Yeah. AMC really, I think because AMC got really big, they took a huge risk on The Walking Dead. I'm sure some of you, I know Cassie, Anita, and maybe even Kelly Russell, you know, we're old enough to remember, and I'm Shane, I know you're old enough to remember as well. All AMC did was just show old movies.
yeah.
AMC was Turner Classic Movies before there was a Turner Classic Movies. And it wasn't until, you know, they took that risk on The Walking Dead to become something different.
And we know that every channel that launches with the premise of just showing old content is just waiting to make enough money to start showing new content.
Right.
That's the MTV model, right? It's
Right.
really cheap to launch a network and just show music videos and make a bunch of money doing that, so you can start producing your own content.
Exactly.
And so that's what Netflix did. And that's what they've all done. And I think that I think that Netflix is one of those streaming services that acknowledged early the potential for telling you new and unique stories.
Absolutely. Well, at this point now, especially with all these different streaming services, they've got to start taking more risk. They've got to start coming up with more. The days of the cookie cutter TV show are gone. Yeah. And you're going to start seeing it, especially now as we sort of see the older guard, you know, the TV execs and the writers from the 80s and the 90s to the early 2000s that are just trying to hold on. As they start to go away and you start to see new writers start to spring up, you're going to start seeing more and better content. I think we're going to be coming to a new golden age of television, or
well, I think
not so much television, but entertainment viewing.
I think that we've sort of been living through and a lot of people would say this, right? That we've been living through a golden age of television over the last little bit with like Sopranos and Breaking Bad. And, you know, like television has really upped its game over the last little bit and has been telling way more unique and interesting stories than mainstream cinema has.
Very true. And I think it's only going to get better.
Yeah.
I think it's only getting better because, I mean, you look at shows like the High Fidelity reimagining starring Zoe Kravitz. That is an amazing show. You look at,
and I want to get into another one right now.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
We found out this week, Ryan, that season 2 of The Mandalorian will not be delayed.
Yes, in Favreau, I praise.
We had been speculating about this for a few weeks that we, you know, they wrapped before the COVID-19 shutdown. And so we thought there was a really good chance that we would get this series in time. So yeah, Mandalorian season 2 ready to go for the fall.
Meanwhile, I'm still sitting here waiting for Cobra Kai season 3. I am losing my mind waiting for this. So I'm very excited to hear that the Mandalorian season 2 is not going to be held up. In Mandalorian season 3, we're already getting huge news out for that as well. I mean, dude, we're going to have Boba Fett.
Yeah, well, that actually is a season 2 casting.
Yes, so we're going to have, Tamura Morrison is Boba Fett. And if you remember, he was Jango Fett. And if you recall, Boba Fett is a clone of Jango Fett. He was the unaltered natural clone of Jango. So
we're getting the most meta, like deep cut shit that you've ever heard.
It really is, man. Oh my goodness. So we're gonna get Ahsoka and Boba Fett, bro.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Bro.
And speaking of the Mandalorian, we're not going to spend too much more time on it today
No,
because next
next
week
week.
we will be doing a Plotaholics deep dive into everything we know about the Mandalorian season 2. That will occupy the second half of next week's show. So if you are a
Yes.
Star Wars fan or Mandalorian fan, make sure that you tune in
Well, I
next
know Katrina
Tuesday.
Johnson will be in on it because I got Katrina Johnson into the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take full credit for her love of the Mandalorian.
Well, and it's so well written, and I'm excited to I'm excited to dig in and talk about it. Now, some bad news, Brian.
I don't like bad news,
I
but
know,
we
but we
have
got to
to.
do it. We got to rip
We
the
have to.
Band-Aid off. While we are in the arena of fandoms,
Yeah.
it appears that since the Disney buyout of Fox, that there is no plan for Deadpool 3. This is coming from Rob Liefeld. Now, I brought up his comments, and I can read these to you if you'd
Please do.
like.
Please do.
So he says, Liefeld, obviously the creator of Deadpool, says, and let me make sure that I've got where this comes from. This comes from an interview with Inverse. He says, I don't know. Here's what people don't want to hear, but thank God I'm a realist. I feel like Deadpool, the movies, they've set sail. We got 2 brilliant movies, and we live in a culture that always looks forward because all they're ever selling us is next, next, next. It's the fever. For me, as the fever calms down, people just need to calm down and realize that Deadpool 1 and 2 were released within 2 years of each other, 16 and 18. And I just can't. I'm not really that crazy about Marvel's plan right now. It's the first time I go, hey, Feige, did you even have a plan? Your plan was Eternals and Shang-Chi. That was your plan, and Black Widow. So they closed the door. Chris Evans says goodbye. Robert Downey Jr. says goodbye. Black Widow falls off a cliff, says goodbye. They almost lose Spider-Man, but you're a genius, Marvel. You're a genius.
Damn. Damn. Someone got taken to task, and it wasn't me.
Right. Yeah.
The fact that there's no plan for Deadpool pisses me off.
Well, we know that it has not been announced as a part of the next phase for sure, which is definitely putting it off at least 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. And the thing is, what are you going to be able to do? Because it's already been proven that R-rated comic book movies work. Deadpool did it. Logan did
sometimes.
It. Yeah. Well, in the last 6 years.
The new Hellboy did not do well.
We're not talking about that. That's not even a comic book movie. That's just an abomination from hell. So the fact of the matter is, I've been nervous about Deadpool since it was purchased.
Does this make you nervous about the forthcoming Blade movie?
It does. But here's the thing. They have to do Blade because it's already been announced.
Yeah, but do they have to do it rated R?
If they don't do it rated R, then there's no point in doing it. There's zero point in doing it. And I'm not even talking about for the language. I'm talking about for the blood and the gore. Yeah. You don't need the language. But but the thing is, it does make me worried for Blade. But honestly, if they're not going to do it right, I would rather them not do it at all.
Yeah.
I would rather Deadpool 3 be gone instead of us getting some PG-13 bullshit.
His comments, though, about Feige's plan post Endgame were so spot on. I'm like, you lost all these people, almost lost more. And the best that you can come out of the gate with is an already dead hero movie and then like 2 things that nobody's ever heard of.
Yeah, because no one knows, unless you're a huge Marvel fan, who the hell's Shang-Chi?
Right. Well, the Eternals. I mean,
and the Eternals. Who the hell are they?
This is not the Guardians of the Galaxy coming off of the backs of Iron Man and Thor and Captain America.
No, this is just, we're throwing new stuff in your face that you've never heard of, but you're gonna like it because our name is on it. No, this is what I would have personally done if Brian Tan is in charge of Marvel. I have Black Panther. I would have already had Black Panther 2 in pre-production around the time of Endgame. So now we would get Black Panther 2 to lead us into this next phase.
Black Panther is the most bankable commodity that you have left other than Spider-Man.
Yeah, and Spider-Man's only half yours. at this
Right.
point. So why not put your eggs in the Black Panther basket and let Black Panther lead your charge into
Yeah.
these next
And
phases?
as cool as it is that Black Widow's getting a movie, it's 10 years too late.
It's 10 years way too late. She's dead. She's not carrying a franchise.
Spoiler alert. We
Spoiler
should
alert.
say.
Yeah, if you've missed Endgame, it's your fault.
Yeah.
But no.
At this
So why
point.
not hitch your wagon to Black Panther? Let
Yeah.
Black Panther do what Tony Stark and Steve Rogers did. Because in the beginning, it was Tony Stark, Steve Rogers, and Thor that carried you. So why not let Black Panther be one of the ones
Black
that carried
Panther should definitely be your new Tony Stark.
Exactly. He's richer than Tony Stark. He's actually smarter than Tony Stark.
Yeah. And he's got, dare I say it, a little more swagger.
Yeah. Not to mention the fact that Tony Stark owns $1 billion business. Black Panther is the king of a country. Come on.
Yeah. Appreciate this comment from Cassandra.
Yeah, absolutely. Guess what, Karens? Not everything put on television is for you and
yeah.
your kids.
Hashtag free the butts.
Yeah. Hashtag free the butt.
That's right. Let's see. I'm gonna go here next, Brian.
I'm mad at Viking.
A couple of weeks ago, we found out that San Diego Comic-Con would be canceling for the first time in its 51-year history. And this week, we found out that they will be providing an at-home virtual convention. We do not know what that programming is going to look like, but it is pretty exciting that there's going to be something that we can all actually participate in.
I would definitely get in on that. I hate the fact that I've never been able to get to a San Diego Comic-Con because I don't fly and I've just not had the opportunity to do so. So I'm excited that there's at least an opportunity to be involved. So I think this is a good thing.
It'll be really cool to see if they get some panels. There's speculation that we're going to get a Black Widow and a Wonder Woman panel. And it would be cool to be able to sit in on that stuff, you know?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I'm still like, I'm sorry. I'm still really fired up on this whole Black Panther is taking a back seat in the next phase. That's really bothering me, but I think it'll be nice if they can get us some panels. I think that the NFL's virtual draft did loads for some of the things that can be done in this time. And I'm excited for it. I still feel bad for these vendors that aren't going to be able to peddle their wares, but they might still be able to. You never know. We don't know what's going to happen yet.
They'll probably create some sort of a virtual, like a convention floor where you can go and purchase some of that stuff. But yeah, even like you mentioned the NFL draft, even the Parks and Rec reunion that they did, where they did a whole new episode via like social distancing online, like even that, the production looked really great on that. So yeah, we're starting to see a lot of creativity out of these people that show us really the what all we can accomplish using the means that we have available to us.
Absolutely. This is exciting, man. I'm pumped for it.
Yeah.
I just, the one thing that I kind of wish, not so much wish, but I was thinking about this earlier today.
Yeah.
As we do this social distancing thing and we're getting more and more to the point where people are worried about jobs and blah, blah, blah. How close do you think that we might become in our next global economy thing is going to be all virtual? Like in Ready Player One. No, like Ready Player One. Like people live and work and everything inside the virtual reality internet.
Maybe.
I mean, and that'll make it a hell of a lot easier to get to Comic Cons and stuff.
I mean, Twitter, the Twitter CEO today announced that any Twitter employees are free to work from home forever.
Hey, I'm down with that.
So I mean, what I think a lot of, and this isn't necessarily the venue for this, but what a lot of corporations are finding out that have had to go to telecommuting is that their employees are just as productive, if not more so, from home as they are at the office.
And you get a lot less overhead.
That's right.
So, but the San Diego Comic-Con doing this at-home festival is going to be great. I can't wait. I can't wait to find out more because this is something I want to get involved in. I think, and us being involved with South by Southwest really has me more and more interested.
I was actually just about to say that, that South by Southwest was the first virtual festival that we've been a part of, that we've sort of pursued actively, and I'm excited to sort of take the same energy to San Diego Comic-Con.
Yep.
And speaking of South by Southwest, we have 3 interviews that you guys can be a part of.
So excited.
Yeah, the first interview is already up. That's with Chelsea Devontes. She's a writer. She's the executive story editor on Bless This Mess, and she is the writer, director, star of the short film Basic.
Basic. Well, it's a short film.
That's right. It's a dumb little film about a dumb little hoe doing dumb little hoe things. And
but it's so hilarious.
It's so good. And this Thursday, you will be able to see the Modern Horror interview that we had with the director Nicole Bazine and the star of Modern Horror Andrea Warehun. And then next week, you'll be able to see our interview with Ashley Eakin, writer and director of the short film Single. So,
which is another. Modern Horror was so raw and real. Like, I'm sorry, like, honestly, like, you got, like, we'll get some. I'm pretty sure it should be on the website. If you go to modernhorror.com, I believe you might be able to watch it on that website.
You can at least see a trailer there.
Yeah, you could at least see the trailer. It's Modern Horror is basically a memoir of a sex worker, and telling her stories. And the short film is just breathtaking, and it's tough to watch. So a trigger warning. Yeah, but it's amazing. And Nicole and Andrew were just great people to talk to. Yeah. They told us they're Plotaholics. So right. That's like some high praise right there. And
you'll be able to catch that interview on the website, on YouTube, video interview on Thursday. And we're also going to put up all 3 of these interviews as bonus episodes on the audio podcast.
Yep. So just keep checking us, Plotaholics.com, at Plotaholics, wherever you go online. All that information will be there.
That's right. One more story before we get into our mini reviews for the week, Brian, and that is I couldn't resist. I had to bring it in because of your newfound love and my all-time love of Community. The Community reunion set to release on May 18th. It includes the original cast, including Donald Glover.
I can't wait. Yeah, I am going to be all over YouTube like a me on cake.
Yeah, so they're doing a table read basically of one of the episodes from season 4, I believe, or 5. But the whole cast, the whole cast is there. I'm not sure if Chevy Chase is there or not, but
all I know, I got Donald Glover. That's all I care about.
For sure, and everybody else is there. In fact, this screenshot here was taken while they were filming it, and Ken Jeong and Joel McHale are doing a rewatch podcast for Community called The Darkest Timeline.
Nice.
And so this is kind of a part of those efforts, I think.
You know what I would really like? If they actually did a whole new run of Community, but it's all on The Darkest Timeline.
So, what's interesting is that there's obviously, because Community is back on Netflix now for the first time in a long time, there's a lot of renewed interest in it. And one of the, as a longtime fan, one of the calling cards of the fandom was always 6 seasons in a movie. They always, right. Yeah. They kept talking about that with regard to Abed in the show really loves Cougar Town.
Yeah.
And he kept saying 6 seasons in a movie. And so every year, whenever the show was up for renewal, the fandom was always like 6 seasons in a movie, 6 seasons in a movie. And so now Dan Harmon is apparently in talks, some preliminary talks to create that movie. So very exciting stuff on the Community front for longtime fans. Our patience may be paying off, but yeah, I will definitely be there as well to see this.
Can I just say that it's funny to see Yvette Brown in Endgame and knowing her now as Shirley. And I'm waiting for her to refer to Tony Stark as like a godless heathen.
I
don't know. I just knew that he had an hippie beard.
Every time I see her in anything, I see Shirley, because I think that Shirley was my first interaction with her.
My first interaction with her was in Endgame, sadly. I'm sure I've seen her in other things.
Right.
But
she's a character actress. She's in a lot of stuff.
But I remember her firmly from Endgame. And then I started watching Community. And matter of fact, I just rewatched Endgame again yesterday. and cried at all the same parts I cried in at the movie. And she was like, and when she was telling him, they seem kind of strange, but I know he had a hippie beard, and I heard it all in the Shirley voice.
Yeah.
Is this your first time?
So let's. Are you ready for some Plotaholics mini reviews?
I am ready for the Plotaholics mini reviews.
Well, let's get into it.
All right. With the Plotaholics mini reviews, mini reviews.
It just never ceases to disappoint. I moved further away from the screen like it'll make it quieter, but it's in my ear, so I can't get away from it. So Brian, you take first shift on this.
All right. Working Moms. God, I love this show. This show is on Netflix. Catherine Reitman, who is the daughter of the great Ivan Reitman. She's the one you see there at the very bottom to the left of the M. This is her baby. This is her show. This is about 4 moms that had their babies all around the same time. They're all professionals, and they're all in the sort of the same Lamaze / Baby and Me groups. Season 4 just dropped this last week. Sharon and I already finished it. It's very Canadian. It's very hilarious.
Is this a Netflix original, or is this one that they took over from somewhere else?
I believe they took it over from someplace else, but
I think you're right.
But I'm telling you, it's so hilarious. All the women involved, like everyone in the show is hilarious. And now we're in season 4, and we start to see a lot of big changes from previous seasons, and it really teases some more drama in season 5. I'm not going to give anything away right now, but the laughs are there. They're even more hilarious. It's constant. The only thing that upset me is there's a character in the show named Val, and she's sort of like the leader of she's the one that runs the group. She's nowhere near as involved as she has been in previous seasons, which is a little bit upsetting. I think this season was a little bit shorter than the previous ones. Mm-hmm. And even one of the male characters that sort of took the forefront, he's not as involved as much either. He's only in for like 1 episode, but it's hilarious. Anne, who is the redhead that's right next to Catherine Reitman, who's at the bottom. Those 2 are my favorite characters. Then you have Frankie, who's the blonde. She's the lesbian real estate agent. I can't remember the name of the Asian lady, but I hate her character. I really hate her character. But it just goes to show how great of an actress she is.
Yeah.
Because I love her at first, and then I hate her. Yeah. But every time she's on screen, it's like, oh, there's that woman I hate. What's she doing now? So, Working Moms, it's a great show. The new season 4 just dropped on Netflix. Check it out. Binge the whole thing. You won't be sorry. Katrina, this is your new addiction. Jenny, thank you. Jenny. I can't stand Jenny. I don't want her number. I'm sorry I have her number, that 8675309. But check it out. You're going to love it.
Excellent. So, and 4 seasons, all 4 very good?
Very, very good. You gotta love seeing these moms, like the frustrations with motherhood with kids and with their partners and with each other at times. It's so
a half
great.
Hour?
Yeah, they're about half-hour episodes.
Gotcha. Yeah, it was originally a CBC property.
Yeah, it's
Canadian
broadcast channel. Yeah, and it's extremely Canadian.
Yeah.
Take that for what it is, but it's awesome. It's very awesome.
That probably means that it's mostly friendly.
It has its moments. Like there's one bit of it that lets me know it's really, really Canadian, is that one of the characters lets her daughter take the subway by herself. And it's like, I wouldn't do that here in America.
Right. Yeah. So this week, Brian, I watched, I'm about 2 episodes from the end of the first season of the new Greg Daniels sitcom Upload.
Okay.
Upload is an Amazon Prime original series by the creator of The Office, Greg Daniels. It is set in the future in 2033, at which point self-driving cars are like super effective and super efficient.
Oh, so we finally get those.
We finally get those. And the title comes from this technology that allows people to upload their consciousnesses into a digital afterlife when they die. And so the series focuses on this guy Nathan, who was working on a freeware version of the Upload software, and he's killed in a self-driving car accident. Interesting. But his girlfriend uploads him to her very expensive account at Lakeview, which is this digital Afterlife, and it's like a country club style. You know what I mean?
Oh, nice.
But it's interesting because they have to build avatars for them, and they have to go through their memories and sort of figure out, all of this stuff and program their avatars. And then the Afterlife, the digital Afterlife is just really funny because they're like pop-up ads and stuff. And there's the gray zone where there's like a black market programmed into it, but you have to get out there to it, it's just a really interesting exercise in world building. And it has that very Greg Daniels sort of comedy. It has a really charming sort of love story at the center of it. And Upload, man, is a super compelling comedy.
All right, I'm gonna have to check that out because I've seen the ads for it when I watch stuff on Amazon. So yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, it's very, very good. I have nothing but very positive things to say about it. It stars Robbie Amell as Nathan Brown.
I love Robbie Amell.
Yeah, he's
Stephen
excellent.
Amell's cousin. He was Ronnie Raymond in the Arrowverse, the original Firestorm.
Yeah, he's very good. And Andy Allo is Nora. Nora is his customer service representative that they call angels.
Gotcha.
So like when he's like Angel, like the customer service representative shows up to like show him around or answer his questions or whatever.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And it's just like any other like video game. They're in-app purchases. Like you can get the basic stuff for free, but like if you want like a special coffee or something, it's like an upcharge for like $1.99 or something.
Damn. And that's in the whole thing, or is that in the afterlife? So you got to get a job in the afterlife. So you got to get a job in the afterlife.
Well, it's whoever's paying the bills, right?
Oh,
because you leave your account to your family so that they can keep in touch with you, because there are sort of portals where people can like visit you in your digital afterlife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, but it's super good. And I would so far 0 shots for the first season of Upload.
All right, I'm gonna have to check that out, man. All right, thanks for that.
Yeah. Well, that I think pretty much does it for this round of the Plotaholics Live.
I think we did really, really good this week.
We were incredibly efficient. I'm
very proud of us.
Yeah. So everybody, make sure that you like, subscribe, share, pass it on. Check out our Once Upon a Time in Hollywood podcast that went up yesterday.
Yeah.
It's a good one. And this week we will be covering last year's Joker film. So
this is good.
There you go. That's a really good impression.
I'm not going down the stairs and dancing though. Knowing my luck, I'll end up taking a header, like boom. Yeah. Well, movie's over. Black guy's dead.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for us for this week. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thanks for being active in the comments, and we will see you again next time.
Yep.
We are the Plotaholics, ripping plots apart for you.